Today's going to be a big day.
It is.
It's going to be a big podcast, folks. So I need you to go ahead and sit down, find yourself a comfortable chair wherever you're at. Make sure you have your seatbelt on if you're driving.
Yep, please do. Please do.
Get yourself a pack of donuts.
Don't leave your dogs in the car if you get out,
Yep,
or your children.
Or your children. You know what? Leave the children. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. I know. I'm just kidding. But real talk. It's going to be a pretty heavy episode today. We're talking about sexual assault.
And rape.
Yes. Before we get into that, though, this is your Almost Bare podcast.
Where we talk about sex, love, health, and all the dirty secrets in between.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is definitely a dirty secret that's coming out today. That there's a difference between rape and sexual assault, and it's kind of different from a law perspective from state to state. But generally speaking, and I'm going to read this from it's an Eliminating Violence, Empowering Survivors website, blah, blah, blah. And essentially, rape is forced sexual intercourse, including vaginal, anal, or oral penetration. Penetration may be by a body part or an object. So, object, John.
You know, that's funny. I asked right before doing this. The reason why she's asking me, folks, is because I asked her, like, by a foreign object. So does that mean, like...
It could be a baseball bat. It could be it could be a banana. It could be an eggplant. It could be something gross from your tool shed. Who knows? It's another object that you are basically forcing into an orifice of another person.
And immediately my head went off, and I was like, wait, there's such a thing to where pigs do this type of stuff where they'll grab an object and that gets them in an evil, contrite way where it's like, oh yeah, this is great. No, what I can't.
Now, if you're in a consensual relationship and you're using vibrators and stuff like that, that's totally different. But if there's 3 college guys and they're pinning down a girl and they're shoving dildos inside of her, that's not the right way to be using one of those. All right, people?
Not even close.
Not even close. So then the difference between rape and sexual assault is where sexual assault is unwanted sexual contact that stops short of rape or attempted rape. It basically includes touching and fondling. And, so sometimes it's interchangeably used because everybody's got,
So check this out, real quick stat, just for sexual assault wise. Every 92 seconds, someone in America, United States of America, gets sexually assaulted. Mm-hmm. On average, there's at least 320,000 victims of rape and sexual assault combined each year in the United States. Mm-hmm. Isn't that just insane?
Just look at a clock watch for 92 seconds and frickin' another person was just sexually assaulted.
Yeah, we get these stats sometimes too of like every 30 seconds there's a home burglary. You hear it on the on the radio. You'll hear these stats of like selling auto insurance for your car getting broken in.
Yeah, it's marketing.
Of course it's marketing, 100%. But 100%. How do you market this shit? How do you say sexual assault's got to stop?
It's hard, and like a lot of the statistics that we get in relation to sexual assault and rape is from RAINN.org, RAINN.org, and it's an extremely well known organization, and they have a 24/7 helpline for sexual assault, and we'll say it again at the very end, but I just wanted to throw it out there right now just in case you lose us somewhere in between. But the sexual assault hotline is 800-656-HOPE, HOPE, and numerically that's 4673. So it's 800-656-4673. And the number of assaults has fallen by more than half since 1993. That's great, more than half. But even today, only 5 of every 1,000 rapists will end up in prison.
Gosh.
It's gross.
That reminds me of Brock Turner. Famous, unfortunately famous.
God, he's so gross.
Yeah, People versus Turner. People of the state of California versus Brock Allen Turner. He was at Stanford. That
swimmer.
That disgusting college student who ended up, again, we talked about the whole foreign object thing on 2 women, I believe, and then another woman, like DNA tests were proven on his fingernails that it was him, all that stuff. And the charges were just dropped by prosecutors. Only gave him 6 months in a jail and then followed by 3 years probation. Check this out, though. He only ended up serving 3 months.
It's so disgusting.
Mm-hmm. And, questions were raised were like, was the judge like paid off? there's that conspiracy.
Sure.
I'm not saying it,
because he came from a wealthy family, and he went to Stanford.
Yeah, he paid off the $150,000 bail at first. His parents did.
Yeah.
I mean, who has $150,000 floating in their house just for a bail?
Well, you post bail. Bail doesn't work like you have $150,000 in your pocket.
Well, gee, still $150,000.
Totally. No, I'm not discounting what you're saying. I'm just
no, I know. I completely get it. But you know what I mean? Where it's like, it's just like, it's disgusting. Where it's like, and the parents, I remember the parents getting heavily involved in this. Like, no, he was such a good kid. And like, you could just tell they were like trying so hard to make sure their son wasn't going to end up in jail for the rest of his life.
Sure. And like, in this day and age, I mean, it was bad in college going to frat parties and stuff. I can't even imagine
what it's like
now. I mean, just thinking about social media and just going back to revenge porn and all the stuff that we've been talking about on the show. It's like, fuck, man. I'm so glad I'm the age I'm at.
Yeah.
I mean, the worst thing that's going to go around is like a picture of me sending like a boob to somebody. Like,
yeah. And for me, I don't have much experience with the whole fratness and all that, but I do end up, I even told you many times, I'm just happy that I don't have to end up finding someone else to date every other day. You get to date the same person, which is great. I'm dating my wife in a sense every single day.
Well, and I love that you say that, because if you continue to date her, then you guys will make it wonderful.
100%. Yeah. And I feel like, when it comes down to this stuff, it's just, there's no, I don't understand it. I don't understand any of this. And I'm very happy I don't, because I'm just happy that I don't get this, if that makes any sense. I'm happy
totally
that I don't understand sexual assault in this country. I don't understand why there's, if you have an urge, like, holy shit, why do you have an urge? Why is there an urge for you to go and grope that man or grope that woman, or you to go ahead and go off on your own sexual, I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know what drives these people to do it, but I have a story that Johnny Boy knows, and only a very small group of people know, like 4. And one is known for a good chunk of change of time, and the rest of them have been like 8 years, and you've been like a year or something like that, right? So when we first started this show, we were so excited to like get started, but we didn't have structure, and we didn't know we didn't know what the hell we were doing, right?
We had to read a book called How to Podcast.
For Dummies.
Podcasting for Dummies.
Podcasting for Dummies. Yes. I'm the one that read it. So throwing you under the bus.
You kind of did.
Sorry.
It's all good. I just glanced at it.
Whatever. Maybe you picked up more than you thought.
4 years in reading.
Anyways, so we had recorded an episode of me sharing this, and I hadn't shared the whole story with John, and we were drinking pretty heavy, I think, that day, and it was a really emotional topic because I hadn't told anybody ever until outside of the one person back in college that I told my college roommate, and then after that I haven't opened my mouth and really told the story. And I'm on our first recording of it, which is never going to be let out. If anything, we should probably delete it.
It's abominated already.
Oh, good. Okay. It was an abomination. I'm not going to tell the whole story. I'm just briefly going to talk about the fact that in 1991, I was 13, and I was raped in a park, and by a gross, stinky guy, and I didn't tell anybody about it. Even my college roommate thinks it was somebody else. And it was something that was so embarrassing to me at the time. I know what I was wearing. I know that I was wearing these little yellow shorts from Contempo Casual and this cute little white shirt, and I'm 13 and I'm at a party, like a little birthday party in the park, and everybody was walking around like doing their thing, and I was raped by this guy. And I haven't talked about it. I didn't even talk to my therapist about it. Like, what in the hell? And so for all of this time, I've kept this in my bod, and I've kept it in my heart, and I've been so secretive about it. And I mean, my parents don't know. Nobody knows. I didn't tell anybody about it. And now I feel like we need to, if anything, we have to open our mouths and share, because what we've experienced with the Me Too movement, which I know has started to sound so cliche and so over hashtagged, but the point of it is years and years ago, it's so frowned upon for women to share what happened to them in their lives, and all of a sudden we are opening our mouths, and it's time. So anyway, So there's that lovely story. Okay. Being a little vulnerable here today. We knew it was going to be a little bit of a doozy, but I didn't want to get into all of the nitty gritty of it because I don't think I'll be able to make it through the whole deal. So that's where we are on that whole situation. And you know, what we've heard so much in the news and everything in regards to like, for example, the Bill Cosby crap, right? And the criminal statutes of limitations. And even if a crime took place, years ago, there may still be time to prosecute. Yeah, if you know who your rapist is, right? I don't know who this person is. I certainly wouldn't. What do I put a fucking ad list up on Craigslist? For all I know, the guy was the homeless bum and he's dead. Like, what would I do? Nothing outside of maybe I need to tell the therapist. It's time, because John's kind of getting tired of me being my therapist.
No, not at all. Yeah. I don't say that with a smiley face.
No,
but
I know.
I say that as, as friends, we're called to listen to our friends, ultimately.
Sure.
And,
And I like that you guys are all our friends now, too. And I felt vulnerable enough that I want you guys to, kick some ass with us and listen to us and share us, because we have a good time and we laugh. And Lyndsay, of course, loves the F word. But at the end of the day, we are these fragile people that have gone through a lot in our life. And it's one of the reasons that we're here talking about the importance of sex and sex education and women's voices and men's voices, by the way. You guys have a shit ton of crap that happens to you, too.
Agreed. I mean, speaking on the men's side of things,
please do.
It's, and hearing this, especially, because like I said, I don't know, before Lyndsay just shared her story, I don't understand any of this. I just happen to Google, sexual desire disorders, and there's some stuff out there that's just like, there are hypoactive sexual desires, sexual aversion disorders. Like, there's actual mental cases for being sexually, just having the sexual disorder. And I'm not trying to link, this is an excuse why sexual assault is happening.
Yeah.
No, of course not. I would never, ever say, well, mental illness, because then I'm sorry to get on my soapbox for a second, because then it's just becoming a gun control debate. Then it's just becoming another debate how to change the laws or whatever we could do to ban having sex. Then if it's going to it's going to create a slippery slope. So what is it that we got to do? And to be honest, I don't even know if there's an answer anymore. What, prescribe medication for these disorders?
Well, and how are you even knowing like this? And we see it in the homeless population often, because they're crazy people, and not all of them are, but they end up going crazy or whatever. But they're losing their mind outside in the world, living in like there's this one dude that walks down Olive right by my house every single day on my way to Burbank Infrared Sauna at 8 a.m. with Jeanette. I see him every single morning, and he does the same walk at the same time, and I see him when I'm leaving the sauna go in the opposite direction. And I think whenever I see a guy that's like that, I immediately go back to what happened. And I didn't identify that was what was happening until fairly recently. So I might have to go a different way to the sauna. Because this guy's creeping me out, man.
and I think, you spoke a little bit on therapy, on talking to someone. And,
totally.
We have our own friend that's a psychiatrist, not like an actual psychiatrist, but, like he kind of just said, like, John, I talked to John about it. I talked to, Ashley Madison, your other friend, or whoever you can talk to about what's going on. I obviously talk with my wife, Kari, about, stuff that I'm going through. But recently, there's been such a drive in my own head where it's like, how about we actually talk to a medical professional one of these days? And I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds scary. And you're like, great, now I'm going to go to a shrink. I think of my grandfather telling me, great, now you're going to go to a damn shrink, son? Great, now they're going to put that on your application for everything. You're mentally crazy. And, for some reason, growing up, I always had the mind of like, if you end up in a mental, person, whether you're a psychologist, whether you're with a psychologist, with a psychiatrist, you're crazy. You're forever crazy.
Yeah.
There's no hope for you. It's gone. You have a mental problem.
Well, there's been a stigma against it for so long.
Yeah. And that goes for my grandfather. That's 2 generations.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Just imagine that, where it's like it's going way back there, 2 generations. It's not. It can't be just my grandfather.
No.
Is the only one that's thinking, oh no, if you go to a shrink, that's it. You're screwed. You're screwed forever. You're messed up, kid.
Sure, and I actually have been looking for therapists, and I've gone to 3 different therapists since I moved to Burbank, and I did not make any form of a love connection with any of the 3 of them, and I gave each